Hello, I'm Amy the Bunny Lady, and this is my partner Elusive, Ellie for short. High five. Good job. And since Earth Day is right around the corner, we're going to talk about how to make sure that your pet care, your rabbit care, is environmentally friendly. And if you are new to our channel, welcome. We give tips and tricks for how to make sure you have a happy and healthy bunny in your home. So if that's the kind of thing that you're interested in, go ahead and hit that subscription button and the notification bell next to it so you never miss any of our weekly videos. So first off, it's actually important to point out that rabbits are actually just by themselves an environmentally friendly pet. I mean, as long as you have them spayed and neutered so that the rabbits are not multiplying everywhere. But rabbits are small mammals and they're herbivores, which means that automatically their carbon footprint is much less than either larger animals or carnivorous animals. In general, their diet takes less of a toll on the environment. It's easier to grow their food and provide them with toys that are actually not very harmful to the environment. However, that doesn't mean that everything about rabbit care is going to be good for the environment. So we can think about the different ways in which we care for rabbits and what we can do to make them even more environmentally friendly pets. So let's get started. 7 things that you can do to have environmentally friendly rabbit care. Number 1 is to source your food locally. So that can be going to get your leafy greens from your local farmer's market. It could be growing your own greens sometimes in your backyard. You could get bales of hay from a local farmer if that's possible, if there are any local farmers nearby, depending on where you live. Sourcing food locally means it doesn't have to travel as far to get to your doorstep, or if you grow it in your backyard, it doesn't even have to travel at all. And that means that any kind of transport from like the car or the truck that it's in, potentially even the plane if it's traveling long distance, any kind of carbon footprint from those deliveries are not a part of the way that you're feeding your rabbit. So that makes it more environmentally friendly to get food for your rabbit from some kind of local source. The next thing you can do is to use food scraps as your rabbit's treats. So a lot of times when we're cooking food for ourselves, we end up cutting off like the odds and ends. So for carrots, we'll cut off the carrot tops and then just use the rest of it for cooking. Well, carrot tops are actually very healthy for rabbits, and they're great to give rabbits to eat. Same with strawberry tops. Celery, the leafy parts of celery, the leafy parts of broccoli. Those sorts of things are actually very healthy for rabbits, so they may just be food scraps to us, but they are excellent treats for bunnies. There are a couple types of vegetable scraps you do not want to give. You don't want to give them tomato leaves or the potato, and nothing related to an onion or garlic or anything like that. Those are the main things that you want to look out for. I would say always look up the food that you're going to give them before you actually give it to them, just to make sure. But those are the most common things that you'll find in cooking that you want to look out for and not give to your rabbit. You also do want to make sure you keep any treats, especially the sweet parts of treats, to a minimum. So anything like the berries or strawberry or the carrot part of the carrot, because too many sweet treats like that can end up causing an imbalance in rabbit's digestive system. So you want to avoid giving them too many of those. A way that can save money and be good for the environment is to go out in nature and use nature for your rabbit's toys. So something like going outside and finding pine cones. Once they have been dried for a couple weeks, pine cones are actually great toys for rabbits. Other things you can get are the twigs or branches off of trees. Maybe a branch fell down, and that can make a great rabbit toy. Make sure to wash it off ahead of time. Twigs from bushes like raspberry bushes, things like that, can be great toys for rabbits. Willow, if there's any kind of willow trees in your area, that can be a great toy. So look for things like that out in nature to be toys. It saves you money because now you're not buying a whole lot of rabbit toys to see what ones your rabbit likes, but instead you're just getting it free from your backyard or from a park nearby. I do want to mention, however, if you live in an area that has a known outbreak of a rabbit virus, so in the US there is a current outbreak of RHDV2. It's mostly located in the southwest United States at the moment, but it could spread. But if you live in one of these areas that has a known outbreak, You may not want to use this tip because this virus can live on objects for long periods of time, and you don't want to risk that spreading to your rabbit. I will leave a link to the House Rabbit Society's page that gives information about this RHDV outbreak so that you can know if you live in an area where this is a problem. The next tip I have for you is to buy in bulk. So this can be either your rabbit's hay or the rabbit's pellets. It obviously won't work for the fresh food that your rabbit eats, like the leafy greens, because that would just go bad. But hay can be stored for long periods of time without going bad, and pellets also, as long as you don't get these products wet. So try to get the biggest bag or box that you can find. For example, I get Garden Select pellets for my rabbit, and they have, rather than getting a small 5-pound bag that, like a 5-pound bag probably would last me about a month, maybe not quite as long, but instead I get a much larger bag. I think it's about 25 pounds and that can last me like almost half a year. So it ends up being cheaper in the long run because buying one big bag in bulk is going to actually be cheaper than getting five different little bags. And also it's better for the environment because you're only using the plastic for one big bag instead of lots of little bags, but you're also only having it shipped once, which means that it uses a little bit less of that energy from having it driven from one place to the next. So that twofold ends up being a little bit better for the environment. If you are looking for places where you can get really big boxes of hay, so you don't have to be stuck with just the biggest one you can find in a pet store, I do recommend this online store called Small Pet Select. You can get like 20-pound boxes of hay. They may even have bigger boxes than that, but you can get essentially bales of hay at a time so that you can A, only have it shipped once, B, it's usually fresher, which is yummier for the rabbits, but also it's a way to buy in bulk and save money because buying larger amounts ends up being cheaper in the long run. The next tip I have for you is to use a recycled litter. So the easiest way to do this is to get a paper-based litter. I like to use the brand Yesterday's News, but there are many other brands that are similar. And this is just it's Yesterday's News because it's like yesterday's newspaper recycled into this litter. The paper makes it healthy for rabbits, so if they nibble on it, since some rabbits nibble on their litter, it's not going to be bad for their digestion. It's not good for them, but it's not going to be bad for them either. It generally absorbs very well. I like this type of litter because it absorbs the pee. You don't have to use a whole ton of the litter for it to get the pee, and it ends up being able to keep the smell from their pee down a little bit. And since it's recycled, that means it's a way you can reuse the paper and stuff that might end up going to waste if we didn't have these recycled products. If you have like a composter in your backyard or something, it's actually the paper litter can go in a composter also. Everything you would normally find in a rabbit litter box, including their poop, pee, the litter, and the hay, are actually compostable. Which brings me to my next point, which is that rabbit poop actually makes a great fertilizer. It's got a lot of those trace nutrients that can help to revitalize the soil when you're gardening. So if you do have a composter in your yard, or you are into gardening, you can use the wonderful products you find in your rabbit's litter box to use as manure, as fertilizer for your garden. It's great because unlike cat or dog poop, rabbit poop doesn't spread diseases in the same way. It's quite healthy to use. However, because of the way that other animals can spread disease through their feces, you usually cannot send rabbit poop to a kind of commercial fertilizer. If there's like a doorstep, a company will come and take your like food scraps to fertilize them. They usually do not accept any kind of pet feces or litter box leavings. So it has to be if you have your own composter, you can do this. And then the last tip I have for you is to make your own cleaning products. This is another one that is good for your wallet and good for the environment, because essentially all you have to do is combine an equal amount of water and vinegar, put them into a spray bottle, and you have a very effective cleaning solution. So you can get a big bottle of white vinegar that you can use, and you can just refill and remake your cleaning solution as necessary. This means you're not going to use as many plastic bottles from continuing to rebuy those plastic products that you'll get from your grocery store or a pet store. The vinegar solution is also 100% safe to use around rabbits, so it's definitely something you can do it's okay for your pets. It's less expensive, and it's not bad for the environment. It doesn't have any of those chemicals that can end up running off and then polluting the waterways. It is quite healthy to use. I mean, you could technically eat it and it would be fine. Your pets can lick it and it's fine. Might not want to because it's just vinegar and water, but it's not gonna hurt you. If you liked this video or found it helpful in any way, then feel free to give it a thumbs up. Help us out a little bit that way. And I do hope that we will see you next week.